Welcome to the Women's Fitness and Health Revolution podcast. There is so much noise on the interweb these days about what women should and shouldn't be doing when it comes to their fitness and health. Not only is it all too often tied to shame and fixing our bodies, it can also be incredibly detrimental to our health and wellness overall. The Women's Fitness and Health Revolution podcast sorts through the BS and offers advice and actionable tactile steps to support and build a better relationship to your amazing body through every stage of womanhood. It aims to break the cycle of keeping women in the dark about their extraordinary machines and revolutionize the way we move, eat, and live so that our daughters and our daughters' daughters look in the mirror and feel exactly what they are: fierce, beautiful, and capable of everything. The revolution starts here. Hello, and welcome to the Women's Fitness and Health Revolution podcast. Coach Kinsey here, and guess what? Did you guess? That's right. I am so excited for today's topic. We are chatting all about fitness in the summertime. I polled y'all on Instagram, and thank you so much to everyone who responded. I was pleasantly surprised with the outpour of responses. If you voted for one of the other ones, don't worry, they'll be coming up too. But there was a big push for a podcast on fitness during the summer. Because let's be real, a lot happens during the summer, right? We travel, the kiddos are out of school, maybe we're out of school. If you live in a place like Minnesota, it's beautiful outside, so it's hard to get into the gym and do our regular routine. We have lots of get-together. The list goes on and on and on. And chances are a couple of different things are going to happen. Maybe we don't have access to our gym, and if we do, we don't have time to go there for whatever reason. We don't get to work out as often as we're used to during things like our fall and spring and winter month. I don't know why I put it in that order, but there it is. And we do vacations, right? So oftentimes when we go on vacations, we don't have time to work out. I know Mangarino Definition and I just went to Montana fully intending to do at least a couple of workouts. And in truth, we got exactly 0 workouts in, but we were doing a lot of other stuff and we had an amazing time. We walked a lot. We were with family. We celebrated my cousin getting married. That should have been the very first thing I said, because it was a beautiful wedding. We lived life and had an awesome time doing it. And neither of us ended the trip thinking about how we didn't do the workouts. You know what I mean? Life's so much bigger. And before I jump into the couple of things we're going to be talking about today, there's 2 really bullet points that we're going to hit on here. I thought it would be fun to talk a little bit about how my own personal training has changed a little bit right now. Since this podcast is all about fitness and health after all, why not do a little case study? I'm always on here preaching about how fitness is a lifelong journey and how it'll probably look different at different stages in your life. And this is an example of where my life, it's different simply because I'm training for a different goal. So generally when I'm just sort of in my day-to-day life, my main emphasis of training is, as you probably guessed, on strength training. I've got a pretty clear schedule of like 3 to 4 heavy lift days hitting different body parts. And then I do a hit once or twice. Remember, I don't do a week. It's not really a 7-day. It's more like a 10 to 12 day cycle. And then I try to maybe do like 1 run, but generally because I'm at Orange Theory right now, I get my running in there. And then I try to do a little yoga. But point is, the meat and potatoes of my programming is in my strength training. Right now, I am training for a half marathon in September. My amazing client, Audrey, gifted me with the Disney Half Marathon. Thank you so much. I'm so excited and not nervous at all. But this happened maybe back in February. And it's been one of those things where each month I'm like, oh, I've got time to start running. Oh, I've got time to start running. I'll look outside and it's raining. I'm like, oh, I was going to run, but not today. I found every single reason not to get back into my running. I was just enjoying strength training, as one does. And then I looked at a calendar and realized, holy guacamole. At the time of this podcast, it's about to be the end of June, and that gives me exactly under 2.5 months to get my running up to 13 miles. So all that is to say, my own training is taking a big shift, and that's okay. I'm going to be leaning a lot more into running. I'm going to be pulling back on heavy lift days because I want to make sure that my body has the energy to run, and then also has the recovery time to recover from my runs, especially as they get longer and longer. And today is a day of an example where I got my run back up to 7 miles. And anytime, and I remember this from last time I trained for a half marathon, anytime that I increase my mileage, like even just by a mile, my body is like, what is happening? Are you crazy? That's it. The rest of this day is sleep. So I really have to be mindful about when I'm placing my runs where I start to sort of stretch the mileage out because I need lots of recovery time. But I just thought it was a fun thing to sort of talk about because it's okay that our exercise looks different once in a while. We should be training pretty cyclically, right? And yes, I believe strength training is the most important thing we can be doing for our body, but I've been strength training for many years now. So the fact that I'm going to take 2.5 months off of really leaning into super heavy lifts isn't going to destroy my progress. I'm still going to, luckily, because I've been doing that, I'm actually coming in with quite decent muscle distribution that's going to allow me to be a better runner. And I'm not scrapping strength training. It'll just look a little bit more like 10 to 12 reps, 4 to 5 rounds, using a little less weight, and also a big emphasis on unilateral training, or one leg at a time. So I'm making sure everything's firing the right way, and a lot of functional balance stuff so that if I trip, because let's be real, I will trip, I'm safe to keep going. But I just wanted to bring that in because I think it's easy to just sort of assume that once we get working out, we're doing the same thing all the time. And if we can't keep doing that thing, then what's the point? And that is sort of what I believe is probably the impetus behind people wanting to hear about summer training, because it's very normal and understandable, and I relate to feel scared of falling out of our routine, especially when we're newer back. So maybe you just started working out in the spring, right? And first of all, congratulations, welcome. I'm so glad you're here, but it can feel very intimidating. Like, holy cow, I just spent all this time starting this new habit, and I'm really afraid now with all these things coming up in summer that I won't be able to stick to it. And that's a very valid fear. And we live in this world with this all or nothing mentality. So I'm hoping that if that's something you relate to, by the end of this episode, you walk away, A, feeling comfortable enjoying your summer, and B, with some practical tips to keep you moving and grooving through the summer months. So the two quick things that we are going to talk about is, first, embracing our fitness as seasonal. And secondly, a couple of ways to keep moving and grooving during the summer. So fitness, as is so much of life, is seasonal. Maybe during other seasons, we have a set fitness schedule. But like I mentioned at the top, there's a lot of reasons that summer can cause us to have to shift the way we're working out. And that can cause a lot of us to feel maybe a little bit out of control. Maybe we feel out of control because we're not sure when we can get our workouts in, and that's kind of scary. Maybe we feel out of control because we feel like we're eating differently than we were comfortable with, or moving less. It's very normal to feel these things. And fitness is also seasonal. I've talked about it before when I've talked about our menstrual cycles. Our menstrual cycles are a season, right? Life is cyclical. So the first thing is just really allowing ourselves to reframe that fitness doesn't have to be copy and paste all year long. It's good for our bodies to cycle. It's really good for our bodies to cycle. I've talked about it a million times, but athletes have off seasons where they're not working directly on their sport. They're doing other things that they're not able to do during the time that their season is. They have their preseason, right? We cycle our bodies for optimal performance. Plus, think of how refreshed you're going to be when you get back. And this is a big one for me, you won't get bored. So if fitness isn't your life, it can be kind of boring. It's okay. That's a big one that I hear from people, is that I want to start strength training, but I just find it boring. First of all, I'm here for you. I can help you find ways to keep it less boring. But if that is something you feel, don't feel bad about it. That is a really common thing to hear. And one way that we can keep from getting bored is by keeping things seasonal. So we get to switch it up a little bit. We're not just stuck in a rut. Letting go of our rigid expectations of exercise and nutrition, it allows us to be present and enjoy your summer instead of panicking and judging and scrutinizing every little thing. And then suddenly summer is over and we're sitting there wishing that we would have enjoyed it more, right? Like I mentioned at the top, Mark and I were in Montana for a wedding and we did nothing fitness related other than, well, we walked, we hiked. That's very valid movement. But our vacation was not about fitness. We didn't do our burpee and 400-meter dashes like we planned. We were present with family. And now I have this whole week of memories with people that some of whom I haven't even seen in over a decade. And I'm so grateful that we didn't compromise that time together doing 400-meter dashes and burpees. And I like burpees, but I like my family more. So allowing ourselves to be okay with being present and letting those fears go so we can really arrive with the people around us and the experiences we're having, especially when we travel. And the other thing is, I think it's really important that we just voice that we aren't going to quote unquote lose it if we stop, right? Fitness is about consistency over a long haul. And the fastest way we quote unquote lose something is by telling ourselves we're going to lose it, because it's really easy to create this feeling of like, well, if I stop, then what's the point of getting started again? And it's simply not the case, right? We're not done until we throw in the towel. Lifelong journey, baby. Like our metabolism, a healthy body is a flexible body. It responds well to all different types of nutrition snacks. So remember, the harder we are on ourselves, the less likely we are to get back at it. So just allow yourself to at least start becoming comfortable with this reframe mentality. Moving is enough. And that's one thing that I've tried to tell myself when I get in my head. Moving is enough. And I'm going to do what I can. But if I'm still moving my body, I'm A-okay. So what would a slightly different or maybe very different summer fitness relationship look like? For example, if you are that person who is like hitting the gym 5 days a week during the school year and now you're out traveling and you're nowhere near a gym, maybe you're in Iceland having an amazing time. I'm sure they have gyms in Iceland, but if you're in Iceland, please don't go to a gym, go outside. Point is, there are many ways to continue staying consistent over the summer that are outside of our routine. So I'm going to give you 5. And the first thing before I jump into it is I just really want to nail home, just embrace that things are going to look a little different. And that's actually a great thing. So if getting to the gym is hard because of kiddos or your schedule is full with activities and travel, one of the very first thing I'm just going to say is don't be afraid to explore fitness options from home or from your hotel or Airbnb, because there are billions of YouTube videos out there, and probably millions of them are very, very good. You can try things that you have never tried before, right? So it's a really good time to explore different movements, yoga, Pilates, maybe even start like walking outside. Body weight exercises are incredible. When the pandemic hit, I've talked about it before on this podcast, but when the pandemic hit, I went through like a mini panic attack because I was like, oh my God, I don't have weights. What am I going to do? And I led body weight workouts for the entire pandemic. And when I got to the other side, my form was better than it had ever been in my life. Not to mention, I stayed very fit during the pandemic. So sticking with body weight, there's so many things we can focus on when we drop weights and we're just focusing on body weights. So I am going to encourage you to try that, because maybe your lifts are going to get even better after a summer full of body weight and really working that mind-body connection, finessing your form and just nailing the way that you move, so that once you put it under weight, you don't have to think about all those little bits and pieces of shifting weight into the heels and squeezing glutes to get out of the bottom of the squat, making sure your knees aren't collapsing. You're just doing them inherently. So now you're underweight. Not only are you moving safely, you're moving better, getting max output. Outdoor workouts too. I mean, talk about a challenge if you're doing it in the heat. If you don't do well in heat, maybe don't work out outside. Maybe go for a walk. Which brings me to 2. Walk more. It's an awesome thing to lean into in the summer. Walking is so good for us. I did an episode a couple weeks back about the benefits of walking, and they are many a benefit. So ways that you can sort of start incorporating this: plan hangouts with friends that include hiking or going to parks or lakes. Schedule it into travel. Personally, my favorite way to explore new places is walking. You catch so many little details and see so many little nuances that you wouldn't necessarily if you were driving or even biking. Another way is to do it with your family. Hey, that's a crazy idea, right? Get everyone involved. Plus, you're getting everyone involved outside. So we're moving away from the screen and into nature. Everyone gets the vitamin D benefits of the sun. It's a win-win. And that just leads me right into part 3, or number 3, which is getting your family or your partner or your roommate or your friends on board with movement during your summer. Because let's be real, it is just more fun to move when we have loved ones. And if we're traveling, say like a family reunion, you don't want to miss time with family. So get them moving and grooving with you. I have one client who literally does a weekly workout, a weekly family workout. So she brings her little baby and he hangs out while she and her husband bang out a workout, and the kiddo just enjoys probably like eating grass, that's what kids do. They just put dirt in their mouth, and actually it's really good for them. Build that microbiome. I have another client whose son now is heading into, I think it's first grade, and he loves to join in on our workouts. He also is very good at coming up with his own workouts. And I will tell you what, the exercises that kid comes up with are way harder than the exercises I would have given his dad. So maybe, just maybe, have your kid create some workouts for you and you are going to get your booty kicked. Other great ways are challenging friends or extended family to things like weekly step challenges or squat challenges, push-up challenges, burpee challenges. Make a challenge, maybe have a prize, or maybe just have like a group chat where you rib each other, you tease each other, you talk, you shiznat, just it's fun to bring everyone together and then also encourage each other to move, right? Because I don't know about your families, but I've got a pretty competitive family. You put a challenge on the line, we're going to be doing a lot of things that we probably wouldn't do on our own. And maybe it has nothing to do with actually working out with your family. Maybe what you need is just to communicate that with your family, that it's important to you to maintain time for your workouts. And so you tell them something like Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 11 to 11:30. That's mom's time to just go and lift weights, and don't budge on that, right? I mean, definitely meet them in the middle. If you're on, maybe drop from an hour to 30 minutes. Or if you're on vacay with your fam, maybe instead of trying to find a gym and banging out a 90-minute workout, just settle for like a quick body weight Tabata in the hotel room. But it is absolutely fine for you to set boundaries around your fitness, and communication can be very hard. I absolutely understand that. This is a great low-hanging fruit of something to practice asking for what you need. So it's a double whammy of moving your body and also speaking up for your amazing self. Number 4, join ClassPass. I have no affiliation. I just really like being on ClassPass. I'm not on it currently because I found Orange Theory and I do my strength training at a different gym. But this one is really fun because it is literally international. When we went to France after a friend's wedding in Ireland, they had French ClassPass classes, which I didn't do because I speak zero French. And again, like for me, exercise wasn't a priority on my 3-day trip to France. I just wanted to get all this, as much Paris as I could. But if you're traveling for extended times and you want to work out, or you and your partner want to work out together, we did this when we visited Denver last year. We were on ClassPass and we popped around gyms in Denver. And it's just a blast. You can try gyms wherever you are. You can rent gym time. So if you want to go just do your own thing, a lot of gyms will offer like open gym on their ClassPass. But it is a really fun and honestly pretty darn affordable way to stay in the gym scene. The catch, obviously, is that for the most part, consistency gets a little hard. Like if you like to do classes, it's hard to like know if you're going to accidentally do 3 leg days in a row because different gyms do leg day on different days. But have fun with it. You're going to love it. When we moved to the Twin Cities, I got on ClassPass and I popped over all the gyms and it was a total blast. Like I said, just gets you out of your routine and into something totally fun. Maybe you'll find your next favorite type of fitness. And number 5, kind of a cop out, but here's what it is, because I think it's deeply important and I'm going to say it. I'm got to say it. Just work out less. That is okay. Don't stop moving, of course, but adjust your schedule, right? Instead of needing to have 3 to 5 days at the gym, let 1 to 2 days be fine and supplement in the ways we listed above. Because again, as long as we're moving, that's all that really matters. Walking is amazing. Maybe your goal this summer is to increase your step counts. Work on that conversation with yourself about it being okay and release the need for summer fitness to look exactly like fall or winter or spring fitness. And if you're thinking, Kinsey, are you telling me to stop weightlifting? I thought you have to do that to be healthy. First thing first, I'm never going to say that. Okay. If you can keep doing that and it feels good and it doesn't feel like you're compromising your happiness or your summer plans, more power to you. But second, if shifting away from weight training for a season, but still rocking things like body weight workouts, yoga, Pilates, things that really build these fundamental foundations of movement, if that means you'll start back up come fall, I am so stinking here for it. Fitness, you know what I'm going to say. It's a lifelong journey. Remember what I said about my running? I'm not leaning into strength training a ton, but you better bet your buttons as soon as this half marathon is done, she's going to be back in the gym with that barbell and so happy to be there. Because I promise you, if you are able to keep making movement a priority in your life, when the time comes that your fitness routine can fall back into place, not only are you going to be more willing to get started again, you're probably going to be, don't hate me for saying this, you're probably going to be excited for it. Plus, muscle memory, baby. I know it's going to feel at first when you get started again like you're beginning from the start of it all for a hot second, but I swear to you, it comes back so fast. The longer we are in a certain type of fitness, it snaps back so quickly. Muscle memory is a real thing. There's just cool science around satellite cells that I did not prep the research for. So if you're interested in, let me know and we can talk about that. But especially if we're moving in some capacity during the summer, that is your quote unquote gains are going to slide back into place much faster than they did round 1 or 2 or 3. And I would be remiss if I shut this down before just taking a quick word on eating, because I know that is a big thing for folks and I totally understand it. Again, you are not alone feeling a little bit like, oh my gosh, I worked really hard to nail down nutrition and now we're not in the home. I'm not cooking. We're traveling and eating really fun food. And oh my gosh, I'm ruining all my progress. Approaching life with moderation allows recognition that a healthy choice is enjoying pizza with your family on movie night without shame, because the next day you're going to be back to your real whole foods and higher protein. And if you are traveling for a week and indulging, get after it. Because again, big picture, we should be enjoying the heck out of traveling and those fun, yummy meals. And then when we come back, we reset with those choices that we know nourish our bodies. And just like getting back into fitness, we'll probably honestly sort of look forward to feeling good again by resetting with real low inflammatory foods, right? Like I can think about a handful of times that I've enjoyed myself eating on vacation. Just didn't hold back, ate all the things often, was walking all the time, but just like didn't let my old fear of food get in the way of me enjoying places. Like even in Montana, there were 2 restaurants we could go to and maybe one thing on the menu that wasn't fried. So you just kind of lean in and you're like, great, we're going to have burgers for every meal this week. But when I got home, it wasn't what I think old Kinsey would have been like. Now all I'm ever going to want are burgers for every single meal. And I'll tell you what, my body, when I got home, wanted a vegetable because it knows what it's missing, the nutrition it needs. And I wanted a salad in a way that I'm not a person who's like, oh, big salad sounds great. And like, if you are, like, I'm jealous, but that's just not me. After this trip, I was like, ooh, salad. Yeah, that sounds great. Because our body is smart. It intuitively knows, especially after we've given it, just like moving our body consistently, when we've given it consistency with eating nutritious meal plans, it knows what makes it happy. So it's going to lean back into those foods. It's going to be okay. The big thing that keeps us out, and then that is a mindset thing, right? So again, be gentle, because I know food is tied up in so much more. It's we have a lot of emotion tied up, a lot of identity. So be gentle with yourself, but also know that this is all a practice, right? And practice from a place of moderation. And if negative self-thoughts come up, give yourself permission to sort of sit with them and to sort of maybe even take time to explore where they're coming from, and then permission to let them pass as you practice reframing the way you talk to yourself. Sometimes we have to sit with those emotions before we can do that reframe. And that is part of healing, honestly. That's part of healing, and it's amazing. Okay, team, I am just so grateful you took the time to listen. Hopefully you got some good information to take into your summer of movement, both on how to reframe it and understand that seasonality is an amazing, natural, necessary part of everything. And yes, everything, even fitness. And 5 little tricks and tips to help you keep moving all summer long. As always, it just means so much to me that you took time out of your day to sit down and listen to something to learn about how to take care of your incredible body and mind. It also means the world to me if you have 2 seconds and did get something out of this, if you would leave a 5-star review and maybe even a written one. That is how this podcast finds its way into the ears of the many, so that we can all together continue on this revolution of health and wellness. And we do have a new review. Huzzah! The beautiful Jay Van Cleef wrote, incredibly thoughtful. Be still, my beating heart. Jay Van Cleef says, in a world full of terrible health and fitness advice, Kinsey does the research and gives you the truth, which is normally complicated, and she dives right in. It's so refreshing to hear a podcast that is meant to make you happier with how you look and smarter in the ways you get stronger. Holy guacamole. When I first read that, it actually made me tear up a little. It means so much. Jay Van Cleef, you, my dear, are incredibly thoughtful, and it means the world to me that you took the time to write that review. And it means even more to me that you're taking care of your incredible body, because you, as are all of you, and your amazing body is so very worth it. Until next time, Raiders, Aru, happy summer.